What if something dangerous was quietly building up inside your body right now, and you had absolutely no idea? What if the real threat to your heart wasn't pain, wasn't dramatic, and didn't come with warning sirens, but instead happened silently while you were making coffee, watching the news, or walking to your mailbox? Most people think heart problems announce themselves loudly, crushing chest pain, sudden collapse, a dramatic moment. But what if the most serious damage happens without symptoms? What if the tightness you sometimes feel is just age? The shortness of breath is just being out of shape? The cold hands, the heavy legs, the strange fatigue are just normal now. And what if those assumptions are exactly what puts you in danger? After 65, your body doesn't always send clear warning signals. It whispers, it hints, it nudges, and most of us have been trained to ignore those nudges. Because you're not sick, you're not in pain, you're still functioning, so you assume you're fine. But what if fine isn't fine? What if the real problem isn't what you feel, but what you don't feel? And what if the food you've trusted for years, the habits you've been told are healthy, are quietly working against you? This isn't about fear. This is about awareness. Because once you understand what's really happening inside your body, you can finally stop guessing and start protecting yourself. If you're over 65, this message is for you, and it might be one of the most important things you hear this year. After the age of 40, and especially after 60, your body starts changing in ways that most people never fully understand. Your arteries don't stay as flexible, your circulation isn't as efficient, your cells don't repair damage as quickly, and your immune system becomes more reactive, not calmer. But here's the dangerous part. These changes don't usually cause pain. They don't wake you up at night, they don't flash warning lights, they don't announce themselves, they just happen. And because they happen slowly, we adapt. We normalize the fatigue. We accept the stiffness. We blame aging for everything. You wake up in the morning and feel a little heavier, a little slower, a little more tired than you used to be. You think, well, I'm not 30 anymore. And that's true. But here's what most people don't realize. Heart disease doesn't begin with a heart attack. It begins with tiny, invisible changes inside your blood vessels. Changes that can start years before anything dramatic ever happens. And the reason this matters so much, especially for older adults, is because the longer these silent changes go unnoticed, the harder they are to reverse. Not impossible, but harder. Most people don't ignore their health because they don't care. They ignore it because they feel okay, or they don't want bad news. They don't want more medications. They don't want to think about it, so they wait. And waiting is exactly what this condition depends on. This isn't about panic, it's about timing. Because when you understand what's happening early, you have power. And when you wait until symptoms appear, your options shrink. That's why this matters. Let's talk about what's really happening inside your body, but in plain language. Think of your arteries like flexible garden hoses. When you're young, they're smooth, wide, and easy for blood to flow through. But over time, tiny bits of damage start to appear on the inside walls. Not big tears, just microscopic scuffs and scratches. You don't feel this happening. Now imagine dust floating through the air. If a wall is perfectly smooth, the dust just passes by. But if that wall is sticky or rough, the dust starts to cling. That's exactly what happens in your arteries. Certain particles in your blood, especially a type of cholesterol carrier, begin sticking to those tiny damaged spots. Then your immune system shows up, trying to clean it up. But instead of fixing the problem, it accidentally creates a buildup, layer by layer, year by year. That buildup is what we call plaque. And here's the tricky part. Your arteries don't complain. They don't send pain signals. They don't warn you. They just slowly get narrower. Blood has to squeeze through smaller and smaller spaces, like traffic trying to pass through a shrinking tunnel. At first, everything still works. Then you get tired faster. Then things feel off. Then one day, there's a blockage. Most people think heart disease is about sudden events. It's not. It's about slow accumulation, like rust forming inside a pipe. And the reason food matters so much is because what you eat can either calm this process or accelerate it. Some foods reduce irritation in the artery walls. Some foods make the blood less sticky. Some foods help your body clean things up more gently. And some foods, especially processed ones, act like gasoline on a fire. This isn't about being perfect. It's about understanding what feeds the problem and what helps slow it down. Once you understand that, everything changes. One of the biggest reasons people get blindsided by heart problems is not because they're careless. It's because they believe things that sound logical. but aren't true. Let's clear up some of the most dangerous myths. Myth number 1. If it doesn't hurt, it's not serious. This one feels intuitive. Pain usually means something is wrong, right? But plaque buildup doesn't cause pain. It doesn't have nerves. It doesn't scream. It quietly grows in the background. Myth number 2. Only overweight people get heart disease. This belief makes many people feel falsely safe. You might be slim, eat pretty well, and assume you're in the clear. But plaque formation is more about what's happening inside your blood vessels. Inflammation, oxidation, immune reactions. Myth number 3. I walk every day, so I'm protected. Walking is wonderful, truly. But movement alone doesn't cancel out poor nutrition, chronic inflammation, or oxidative stress. Myth number 4. My doctor would have told me if something was wrong. Doctors often look for events, heart attacks. But the silent buildup phase can go on for years without triggering alarms. Myth number 5. I eat heart-healthy foods. This one is tricky. Many foods marketed as heart-healthy are loaded with sugar and inflammatory additives. Labels can lie. People believe these myths because they want reassurance. They want simplicity. They want to feel safe. But safety doesn't come from comforting beliefs. It comes from understanding reality. The good news? Once you see through these myths, you gain power. Because now, you're no longer guessing. You're choosing. Most people imagine heart problems as dramatic events. A sudden collapse, a sharp pain, an emergency. But long before anything dramatic happens, the body usually sends small, quiet signals. Signals that are easy to dismiss. Signals that don't feel dangerous. For example, a heaviness in your chest. Not pain, just pressure. Cold hands or feet, even when the room is warm. Legs that feel tired much faster than they used to. A strange tightness when walking uphill. Feeling winded doing things that were easy last year. A low-level fatigue that never fully goes away. None of these scream emergency. So people explain them away. I'm just getting older. I didn't sleep well. I'm out of shape. It's probably nothing. But here's the problem. These sensations often come from reduced blood flow. Not blocked yet, not dramatic yet, but restricted. Like water flowing through a pipe that's slowly narrowing. You still get water, but not as freely. And the body adapts. You slow down without realizing it. You rest more. You avoid certain activities, not because you want to, but because something inside feels off. And because it's subtle, you don't talk about it. You don't complain. You assume it's normal. But common is not the same as normal. Millions of people feel these signs. That doesn't make them harmless. It just means they're widespread. And the most dangerous part, when symptoms are small, people wait. They wait years. And during that time, the buildup continues. Not loudly, not painfully, but steadily. If any of these sensations sound familiar, that doesn't mean something terrible is happening. It means your body is trying to communicate. And the earlier you listen, the more options you have. Let me paint you 2 possible futures. Both start the same. Same age, same habits, same small warning signs. A little fatigue, cold hands, shortness of breath on hills, a heaviness that comes and goes. Future A. The ignored path. In this future, you shrug it off. It's just age. Everyone feels like this. Life continues, but slowly you start doing less. You avoid stairs, you stop long walks, you say no to outings because you don't feel up to it. Gradually. Until one day there is drama. A hospital visit, a scan, a shocked look on a doctor's face. And suddenly everything becomes urgent. Medications, procedures, fear, not because the problem appeared overnight, but because it was growing quietly for years. Future B. The aware path. In this future, you notice the same signs, but instead of dismissing them, you become curious. You start learning what's really happening inside your body. You don't panic. You don't obsess. You simply begin making small, smart changes. Food that calms inflammation, habits that protect your blood vessels, movement that strengthens your heart. Not extreme, not perfect, just consistent. Over time, you feel different, not younger, but clearer, more energetic, more stable. You're not guessing anymore. You're participating. Both futures start the same. The only difference? Attention. One path waits for a crisis, the other prevents one. And prevention is always quieter than disaster, but infinitely more powerful. Here's the part most people are never told. Not by ads, not by food labels, not even sometimes by doctors. Heart disease is not just about cholesterol. It's not just about sugar. It's not just about blood pressure. And it's definitely not just about age. It's about irritation inside your blood vessels. Tiny, repeated irritation. Day after day, year after year. And what fuels that irritation the most? Not just what you eat, but how your body reacts to what you eat. Some foods calm your system, some foods inflame it, some foods protect your artery walls, some foods make them more fragile. But here's the hidden part. You don't need a perfect diet to protect your heart. You don't need to be vegan. You don't need keto. You don't need carnivore. You don't need extremes, because extreme plans fail. What actually matters is consistency. A plan that's 70% good and sustainable for life will always beat a 100% perfect plan you quit after 6 months. No one tells you that. They sell perfection. They sell rules. They sell fear. But the real power is simpler. It's choosing the few high-impact foods that show up again and again in real research. Foods that reduce oxidative stress, calm inflammation, protect artery walls, lower harmful particles, and help your immune system. Not magic foods, protective foods. And once you understand why they work, you stop chasing trends. You stop being confused. You stop feeling behind, because now you're no longer following rules. You're making informed choices. And that's the kind of control no one talks about. Here's the real message. And it's not about food, it's about control. Most people your age have been slowly taught, without realizing it, that decline is inevitable, that fatigue is normal, that stiffness is expected, that slowing down is just part of the deal, so you stop questioning it. You stop pushing back. You start shrinking your life without meaning to. Fewer walks, shorter outings, less curiosity, less energy, not because you want to, but because you think you have to. And that belief is the most dangerous thing of all, because your body is not fragile. It is adaptive. It is responsive. It is constantly trying to repair, rebalance, and protect you. But it can only work with what you give it. When you eat foods that calm inflammation, your body responds. When you move in ways that strengthen your heart, your body responds. When you reduce the daily irritation inside your blood vessels, your body responds. Not instantly, not dramatically, but steadily. And that's where real power lives. Not in fear, not in extremes, not in chasing trends, but in awareness. Awareness gives you choices, and choices give you agency. You are not here to merely survive. You are here to live, to feel clear-headed, to wake up with energy, to walk without hesitation, to enjoy your days, not just endure them. And no, this isn't about trying to be young again. It's about being strong now. It's about protecting the life you have. Because you deserve a future where your body supports you, not one where you're constantly negotiating with it. This isn't about fear. This is about respecting yourself enough to pay attention. And once you start paying attention, everything changes. This isn't about rules. It isn't about perfection. And it isn't about becoming someone else. This is about coming back to yourself. About noticing what your body has been quietly asking for. About realizing that the small feelings you brushed off, the tiredness, the heaviness, the subtle off sensations, were never weakness. They were communication. You don't need to be afraid of your body. Your body is not working against you. It's working for you, every single day, trying to adapt, protect, and heal. All it asks in return is that you listen. This is not a story about decline. It's a story about awareness. And awareness is power. You still have time. You still have choices. You still have influence over what comes next. Not through force, not through fear, but through understanding. And once you understand, you stop guessing. You stop waiting. You stop hoping things will just be okay. You start participating in your future, and that changes everything. If this message resonated with you, I want you to know something important. You're not alone in this. So many people quietly feel these changes but never talk about them. They assume it's just age. They assume it's normal. They assume nothing can be done. But awareness changes that. If something in this video made you pause, if a word, a feeling, or a sensation sounded familiar, that matters. Not as a diagnosis, but as a signal. A signal to listen. If you're comfortable, share what you noticed. Not for advice, not for judgment, just for connection. Because when we talk about these things, we stop feeling isolated. And when we stop feeling isolated, we start feeling empowered. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and does not replace professional medical advice.